In Tootsie, Dustin Hoffman played a driven, meticulous actor. It's said that in looking for an inspiration for that character, Dustin found it in Dustin Hoffman.
Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Connolly.
Dustin persuaded director Sidney Pollack to let him stage an improvised acting class taught by his character. In the scene, the perennial out-of-work actor conducts an acting class for other perennially out-of-work actors.
You gotta work. There's no excuse for not working.
Ladies and gentlemen, Liev Schreiber.
There's no excuse for not working. There's unemployment. It's never gonna change. You're an actor, you're in New York City. There's no work, but you gotta find ways to work.
Ladies and gentlemen, Naomi Watts.
Dustin said, "It's so tough to have this ego and not be able to work. A writer can write, a painter can paint, but what can an actor do?" Well, he pays other actors to be the audience and calls it a class.
The first time I saw Dustin in action, I was 14 years old. A friend slipped me a suspicious-looking VHS tape whispering the two magic words every 14-year-old boy longs to hear: dirty movie. I waited till my mother was asleep to play it. I was very excited. The movie was Midnight Cowboy. It turned out to be a completely magical experience for me. Not the magical experience I was expecting or hoping for, but it did change my life. I'd never seen anyone create characters like that before. So incredibly lifelike and detailed, and yet still somehow something more than real. I had to do that. I had to act like Dustin Hoffman. Not just me, all of us. You and Ratso Rizzo redefined acting for a new generation forever.
It was one of the great acting experiences of my life. About 15 years ago, I got a call, and I was asked to meet Dustin Hoffman for a film that he was directing. I wasn't allowed to read the script in advance, so I felt completely unprepared to meet the master. So I had my 30-minute slot. I was there for 5 hours, but that's Dustin. And for the first hour, all I could do was worry. What did he want? What was the movie about? Would I be right for the character? Would my car get towed? And finally, I settled down and I read some scenes. And he hovered over me with his smoky voice and his laser instincts.
Good, that's good. Be more specific. Just go with the text, no choices for now. That's good. Try it again.
What I learned in those few hours with Dustin was possibly more value to me than a lifetime of acting classes. In a sense, it was the most important audition of my life. I didn't get the part, but a few years later, my dream came true, and I did get to work with Dustin Hoffman in I Heart Huckabees. Dustin, I hope you know, I heart Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman doesn't rewrite Shakespeare, despite what everyone says. It was my honor to be directed by Dustin in Quartet, and I can tell you that as a director, he gives his actors everything he wants for himself. It's no surprise he's a great director. He's been directing himself for years. In Quartet, I was miscast terribly as a gentleman getting on in years. Yes, quite a stretch. So I asked Dustin for some tips on how to play an older person. He told me, beware of involuntary noises. Never miss a chance to have a pee. Hum non-existent tunes all through dinner. And most importantly, don't forget to stick out your tongue when the soup spoon's only halfway to your face. For Dustin, it just comes down to doing it properly. That's what Dustin does, and it comes out perfect, always.
Critics have noted that Dustin's very physical appearance changes with each role.
Each one a mirror into the soul of the artist.
It's truth, and it's perhaps why we've grown accustomed to his face.
No matter what the role, he almost makes the day begin.
We've come to know him so well. It's as if we've grown accustomed to the tune that he whistles night and noon.
His smile.
His frowns.
His ups.
His downs.
They're second nature to us now. Like breathing out and breathing in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Laura Osnes.
We were serenely independent and content before we met. Surely we could always be that way again. And yet, we've grown accustomed to his looks, accustomed to his voice, accustomed to his face. We've grown accustomed to his face. He almost makes the day begin. We're all so grateful he's an actor. He's not